Hello, friends. I am so excited for today's very special audio-only episode. It's actually a mic flip where someone else is interviewing me. That someone else is the wonderful Jelani Millard, who you might recognize from a previous episode where we discussed the value of travel. Today, we are chatting on his podcast called Pay Me in Plane Tickets, and we share an awesome conversation about, of course, travel, and my favorite topics, parenting and business. I dive into what it's been like to travel with the little one, because if you don't already know, I have been traveling with him since he was 5 months old. We've traveled by plane, boat, train, bus, whatever you can think of. My baby and I have traveled together alongside with my husband. We've visited 4 countries, not including the layovers because those don't count. But yeah, that's going to be discussed in today's episode. I have a few travel, business, and parenting tips to share. I hope you enjoy, and let's get into it. The European way of living is so brilliant. You know, I heard the story of somebody sitting down at a cafe in somewhere in Italy, and he's tapping his feet, right? He's impatient. He's American. He's waiting for his check. And finally he's able to get the server over, and he goes, "Hey, can I have my check? I gotta go." And the server goes, "Where do you gotta go? Where do you have to be?" Like, we're in America, we're in such a rush for what? For what? Where are we rushing to? We're just rushing to our grave if we continue to live this hustle culture. You know, there's no need to rush. Life is short. We gotta enjoy it.
Welcome to the Pay Me in Plane Tickets podcast. I have Kaila Sachse here, who's the founder of Yumari Digital, which is an all-in-one digital servicing platform with an effective and winning strategies. She really sort of services the small and startup businesses, really getting them off the ground in a multitude of ways. With her 15 years of experience and beyond, I must say she is a delight to have around. She's a wealth of information. She also, along with her family, does travel and does talk about sort of the importance of getting an educational experience and a business mindset around some of these trips, and even they probably can get some insights from them as well. But she is also the host of the Bringing Up Business podcast, which I had the joy and pleasure to be on as well. So I'd like to welcome Kaila to the Pay Me in Plane Tickets podcast. How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling great. Thanks so much for having me here today. It's so good to see your face again. I mean, last time we chatted, it was so lovely. So it's nice to get to catch up.
It was a great conversation. I'm not going to lie. I definitely want everybody to check out that episode because it was, Kaila asked great questions. I felt like it was a very insightful and thoughtful production. And yeah, I take a listen to it even from time to time myself.
I appreciate that. You know, your episode is one of the best performing. And on the note with the questions, there's so much pressure to try to come up with like a good follow-up question, like keep the conversation going. But, you know, we have such a natural flow that it was, it was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. Look, because getting paid in plane tickets and bringing up business, they meshed,
Yep.
you know?
Yep.
Kaila, to dive right in a little bit, kind of give us a little bit about kind of your early days in your career, in your lifestyle, kind of where do you hail from?
Oh man. Okay. So, you know, early days, I hail from a place that didn't get much hail or even rain for that matter. I come from the Mojave Desert. So if you know the Mojave, we've got these funny little shrub tree things called Joshua trees. They're very interesting. But yeah, that's where I grew up, about 70 miles north of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And, you know, I didn't have the easiest childhood. So I planned on moving out as soon as possible, which I did at 19 years old. I was out the door, had a juicy savings that I worked my butt off for. And yeah, that's how I got started. I went to school. I went to graphic design school out in LA. And, you know, originally I was commuting back and forth that 70 miles.
Oh gosh.
Like, what, three or 4 times a week, depending on, you know, my class schedule and all that. And if anybody's been to an art school, your classes aren't just like an hour long, they're 4-hour long classes.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that. Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's basically like, you know, you're basically workshopping, right? Like your professor will teach you the things to do for that session. And then your remaining, 3 hours is all about just doing the work and putting your head down, pencil
Yeah.
to paper, graphite to paper, whatever,
Oh God.
and practicing those basics. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I would have like 2 to 3 class sessions in a day. So if you do the math, that's an 8 to 12 hour day.
Wow.
Right. So I commute out
Not
an hour and a
including drive. Oh, not including the drive.
exactly, not
Oh
including the
wow.
drive. So it's an hour and a half there, put in my 8 to 12 hours of class time, plus like lunch and all that extra time, and then an hour and a half back. And I was only able to sustain that for about a year before I actually started falling asleep at the wheel.
Oh wow.
It got dangerous. So I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I gotta move to LA. I gotta be closer to school in order to survive this. And thankfully someone gave me the invitation to move into a house. It had 12 bedrooms, which meant there were 12 roommates. It was bananas. It was basically like a frat house. It was
Yeah, I was
crazy.
going to say you're based on a frat.
Dude, at any one point in time, I felt like there were like 30 people at the house with like friends and girlfriends
Yeah.
and cousins. It was so much fun. It was a great experience. But yeah, I was able to move to LA for like $500 a month. It was you
Wow.
can't beat that.
Yeah, no, that's a good deal. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not happening
It's
nowadays, but yeah,
heck
that's a
no.
good that's a steal of the century.
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. And
Oh,
granted, I was sacrificing having to share a kitchen, and I
yeah.
think there were like two or three bathrooms that we all
Mhm.
shared. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the college year
sacrifice.
come ups, you know. It's
Exactly. So, but that was my living situation. That's how I was able to round out school, finish it
Mhm.
up. Right after school, they hosted a really cool, I don't know how to describe this. It's like a get together for all of the graduating students. And it was a job fair. That's the best way to put it. It was a job fair.
Okay.
So all the graduating students get together, they set up their tables. I had my own little table with all my, my portfolio stuff. And 2 people had walked by my booth and gave me job offers that day. So I was like, okay. I went in for interviews for both of them. Here's where I probably made the wrong decision, but it worked out anyway. Okay.
All
So
right. I'm ready.
one of them gave me an offer to be a website designer.
Okay.
The other one gave me an offer to go into fashion and design tracksuits and really like boring apparel. I don't know why I chose that one. I chose the boring route, but I did.
Got to
So,
make life more interesting.
you know what? We got to keep it fresh.
Right.
Got to keep it fun. But you know what? I'm glad I chose that. That job only lasted for about 10 months before I got laid off. It was like this whole thing, but I learned a lot through that.
Mhm.
I ended up working an additional 9 to 5 after that. I learned way more in that role. I started as a junior graphic designer, and I worked my way up to shipping million dollar shipments. I mean, that was like
Wow.
the scale of my skill set, my capacity. I was able to just learn so much new stuff, and I had the bandwidth for it, which was surprising and exciting.
Mhm.
So learned all this stuff, had a great time. Now we enter my first international travel.
Okay.
It was at that job that it was in the middle of that job that I was planning on going on an international trip with my then boyfriend, now husband, and his family.
Mhm.
They are from the Philippines, so we were planning on going back to the Philippines to visit his mom's province as well as a couple other islands.
Beautiful.
And this is a big trip, so we're planning way in advance. It's like 6 months in advance, right?
Right.
So, we
Taking that time to actually like get it all together and set up.
yeah, that, and plus like plane tickets get more expensive the closer you get to a trip, right?
That's
So
very
we're
true.
also taking advantage of that, right?
Yeah.
So I tell my boss, I'm like, hey, I told my boss, I didn't ask. I told, I said, hey, I'm going on this trip in 6 months. right? Just a heads up, I'm going to be away for a couple weeks. And by that point, I'd already been at the company for a few years.
Yeah.
I accrued that time off. To me, it felt like a no-brainer. Now, my boss's response was an immediate no.
Get out of here.
Swear. It was a very quick no. You cannot go on that trip because that is during our busy season.
Mm.
I said, okay, heard, got that. Are you sure? It was like, yep, I'm sure you cannot go on that trip. I said, okay. I went home from work that day. I bought my plane tickets. I planned out my exit. I was like, okay, well, what do I have to use up? I got to use up my vacation time. So I took that during Christmas instead. I went on an awesome snowboarding trip in Utah. Like I just had a grand old time with that vacation. I knew that my sick pay had to be paid out, just legally it had to be paid out. So I was like, okay, I don't have to worry about using that. And then 6 months later, I went to the Philippines and came home without a job.
Those are the best trips, aren't they?
It was amazing. But unbeknownst to me, prior to going on that trip, I had gone to this like dream board party, right? You get together, we're all scrapbooking, we got all these stacks of magazines, and we were cutting out all these visions of what we want our future to look like.
Yeah.
And at that party, I had met this brilliant couple who was running a warehouse. It was a fashion warehouse, and they're working with brands all over the world. And we got a little nerdy. I at my previous job, like I mentioned, I was shipping multi-million-dollar shipments. So I understood the nitty-gritty of what it takes to do that. It's not like you just slap a FedEx label onto a box and ship it out to a vendor.
Right.
No, these big box retailers, they have very strict requirements. And I was used to doing that. And there's also a technical component to that as well. So I understood that software and all that. So I'm talking with this couple who's running the warehouse, and we start nerding out about the technicalities of shipping and yada, yada, yada. The night goes on. We have a good time. Fast forward, I go on my trip. I come home. And, at that point, I don't think there was an ability to like do an eSIM on my phone, right? So I was just completely offline. I didn't go international or anything. I just like
got it.
I was just offline for the whole trip, right? I didn't care about making calls and sending texts. Who was I going to text? Who cares?
Right.
And so I come back home, I swap out my SIM card, and sure enough, there's a voicemail from the husband of that couple. And he's like, "Hey, Kaila, we've been thinking about the conversation we had with you at the dream board party a few months ago, and we want to talk to you. We want to explore this, explore like what and see if maybe you could help us with the warehouse." And I'm listening to this voicemail in the Uber ride coming home from LAX. I'm exhausted, by the way. That's a very long flight from the Philippines.
No, that's a minute. Yeah.
It's a minute. And I'm like, oh man, this is a pretty cool opportunity. I'm exhausted, but let me call him back anyway. And let's move this thing along. I don't have a job, so I might as well explore it.
Right. Yeah. What do you have to lose, to kind of test it out?
Exactly. So I explore it. I call him back. I go on, I guess you'd call it an interview. It was more like just a coffee get together, chit chat.
Conversation.
And a month later, I have my first major client. And that was just like the beginning of my freelance career.
Wow.
Yeah.
Spontaneous, but yet purposed in a way.
Exactly. Lots of serendipity, but also like, I think that's the power of leaning into integrity, right? Like if something feels good, leaning into that. If something doesn't feel good, just step away from it. You don't need it.
Yeah. Your story reminds me of when I was in university, kind of a funny story, a little tidbit. I remember a guidance counselor, right? I don't know, maybe a counselor, a career counselor, whatever it was.
Yeah.
He said, what I really hope for you is that you get fired or laid off from your first job first, because it teaches you to not be so reliant or dependent upon that particular job. And you're always going to be exploring other things. And lo and behold, just like you, my first job, I was there for about a year, got laid off, and it was one of the best things that ever happened to me because I was falling into that, oh, I'm gonna be here for 15 years and this is where it's gonna be, and I'm caught up in the dynamic of the company or whatever it was. And it's like, oh no, that's not how it works. You know, that's not how none of this works. And it allows you in front of the similarity from your story, or the what I'm extracting from your story is that uh you kind of grew, you explored yourself even more. You kind of took another chance. You kind of went out there and still was fishing for opportunities, even though it may not have seemed like it. You were just having a conversation at this event and look at what it turned out to be, right?
Mhm.
So, yeah, so I do tell some young bucks, I say, yeah, I hope you get fired from your first job because now you know, like, and I think the younger generation knows this now. They're definitely not as loyal to a company as I think
No,
our
yeah.
our previous generations were. You know, they were there for 50 years, and I
Yeah,
mean,
with the pension. Yeah.
now granted, the pensions are nice, but we'll take that risk and chance.
Yeah, yeah, I've definitely noticed that with the younger generation. I lend them so much credit because they
Yeah,
know that there is always more, right? And
yeah,
on the other hand, like maybe that could be a little rough, right? The grass is always greener, that sort of
right.
mentality, right? But on the flip side, when you know that there could be better, you are raising the standard
Mm,
of those around you, right? Of your employer, especially. Like you're looking at your employer with a finer eye and you're saying,
mhm.
hey, can I be treated better in this situation? And so I've seen like the quality of workplaces improve because
Right,
of that. So
because of
that's
that
a
like new
really good thing.
attitude. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And we especially saw that during COVID. I mean,
Oh yeah.
all employers were going remote and better taking care of their employees. I've noticed how that has even improved the lives of parents. I
Yeah.
feel like parents have always had like the brunt had to take the brunt of strict workplaces. They're not
Yeah.
as flexible. They can't go pick up their kids from school or whatever it is. But now there's a lot more flexibility. So
That's a good point, because I have that on actually. One of the things I want to discuss with you about is
mm,
because of, again, the pandemic hits and
mhm,
remote work and hybrid work becomes the major focus for not only individuals but families, right?
yep.
Um, but you're kind of seeing a clawback on it. At
Mm,
least, so I'm in New York and
mm,
you're in Cali.
mhm,
We're seeing a major clawback on that.
mhm.
One of the major drivers is not a justifiable driver, but the driver is they're spending so much money on those buildings, they got to find some way to justify that. And so,
Yeah.
like, we need people to back in these offices. But
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on sort of the major firms, the major players who are saying, no, we want you guys in the office 5 days a week as especially, and they're saying it toward families, like, hey, despite how far you guys are, or despite the family dynamic, being in an office space for 8 hours is necessary.
I'm shaking my head and like sucking on my teeth because it's just like, you know what? They can do it. They can try it.
Yeah.
They can try it. And the data is going to show for itself, right? In employee retention and even in hiring.
Yeah.
We'll see how that turns out. But I'll tell you what, that the flexibility is what people value nowadays.
Yeah.
So enjoy.
And also the challenge, like, to what you represent,
Mhm,
because now you're able to control your time, you control your destiny. You don't
mhm,
necessarily, you make the decision that's best suits yourself and your family. And I think you being a leader in that sort of this new phase, it's going to act as a challenge to what these firms are doing, right?
Yep. I had a really important conversation with Paul Stonick on my pod about how to nourish a workplace culture that is conducive for that employee retention and hiring and just to be competitive as an employer. And part of that retention strategy is taking care of your employees, meeting them where they are at, instead of demanding them to come to you in this very stark hospital, clean, sterile way.
Right.
Instead saying, hey, look, I've got a team of humans and humans have needs. So let's take care of our humans. So
Yeah.
that's the new way of taking care of our teams. And again, look, the bigger firms, yes, they have a lot more market share and they have that, they have that ability to demand things from their employees. But I hope that they're giving out bennies in exchange. You know, you got to keep the offer sexy
Right.
somehow.
Look, somebody's got to pay for the 70-mile drives,
You feel me? Like,
Like somebody's got to deal with it, you know.
yeah.
But the illusion of power can be erased with a single thought. So
Mhm.
uh you representing that kind of the manifestation of no, you can take back your time, kind of control your destiny, do what's best for yourself and your family.
Mhm.
That is the biggest threat to it. And I really hope it proceeds because there honestly does not need to be a need to be in the office 5 days a week for 8 hours.
No. Why are we
Just
doing
between you
this?
and me.
No, why are we doing this to ourselves? It's silly. I mean, after exploring places like I just came back from Italy and Croatia, right? The European way of living is so brilliant.
Amazing.
I heard this story. Somebody sitting down at a cafe in somewhere in Italy, and he's like he's tapping his feet, right? He's impatient. He's American. He's waiting for his check. And finally he's able to get the server over and he goes, "Hey, can I have my check? I gotta go." And the server goes, "Where do you gotta go? Where do you have to be?" Like, we're in America, we're in such a rush for what? For what? Where are we rushing to? We're just rushing to our grave if we continue to live this hustle culture. Now, this isn't to discount work ethic, right? And doing what it takes to best fulfill our work and what's required of it. But, there's no need to rush. Life is short. We got to enjoy it.
That's very true. That was beautifully said.
Thank
Beautifully
you.
put.
Thank you. I put a lot of brain power into that one.
When starting Yumari Digital, did it start in that natural approach with the first major client, or did you kind of okay, you're nodding your head. So was it like, okay, I was thinking maybe that was the spark, and then you said, okay, I can actually turn this into sort of a lifestyle for myself.
Yes, that was definitely the catalyst because before I had locked in the deal with that first client, I
Hmm.
was actually toying with maybe I can help sell my boyfriend's brand. He has this really cool apparel brand. And I was like, there's actually a funny story with that. So my brother-in-law, my brother-in-law is a brilliant salesperson. He's actually in real estate now, which is intelligent, right? That's a
That's a nice
great
place to be.
that's a great place to be if you're good at sales, man. He's crushing it. But he and I got together and we're like, okay, let's sell Adrian's brand. Adrian's my husband. Let's sell Adrian's brand. And let's make a list of all these different retailers in our area and let's hit them up. And so we go out, we're trying to figure out how to like best sell this thing. We call one retailer and we're like, hey, I forgot like our approach. It was something like, hey, can we talk to your manager? We had an issue with XYZ and we want to like it was a really manipulative, silly way to do sales. I mean, God, I've learned so much since then. Jeez Louise. And thankfully that lady over the phone was like, what are you really trying to do? What are
Um,
you getting at? Because I can tell you're spinning my gears here.
this is part of your sales pitch, your sales book 101 when you release it.
Yeah, what not to do? How not to sell something. Oh my God. And yeah, I just remember in that moment, Arv and I look at each other, we're like, okay, it's time to hang up the phone and hang up our sales career here with this whole thing. We're not gonna make it. So
I
yeah,
love this.
oh my God. So thank goodness I was able to like go pivot in a different direction and work with a client in a capacity that actually makes sense for me, which was working in the warehousing space and doing graphics for them and all that stuff.
Okay. And what has it been like building it? It's now it's much more mature than when you first started. So what is that growth path? Kind of explain that to us. Like, what does that look like for you?
Oh, it's been amazing. So, when I started off, again, I was a freelancer, I was solo. I was working in the warehouse, gosh, a few days a week. And they had asked me several times, hey, can you please come in full time? And I was like, you know what? I really want to, I think I learned from being laid off, I really want to diversify my income and
Mhm.
work with multiple clients instead of just one employer.
Right.
And that decision forever changed my life for the positive. I was able to maintain the warehouse work for a few days, and then I was able to help serve other clients at the same time, right? So now I
Wow.
have a full 5, sometimes even 6 day schedule, because in the early days you work longer hours and work more
Yeah.
days. And man, that totally blossomed. So I had the warehouse client, I had another client who was referred to me from a colleague who I'd previously worked with. And that other client, oh my gosh, she sent out my name to like 10 other clients. It just multiplied. And over the span of 6, 7 years, I think, I was floating almost entirely off of referrals.
Beautiful.
That's just, and that was, I think part of that was due to my desire to only deliver results that I was proud of. I didn't want to turn in anything that was 50%. It had to be 110%.
Hmm.
A, for my own soul to feel good about it, but also B, like these people are trusting me with their dollars. I owe it to them to give them what they deserve and more, right? Over deliver. And so yeah, again, like that all multiplied over the span of 7 years. I was able to serve, I think at that point, dozens of clients just from word of mouth. And I then realized, I took on a business mentor from SCORE. SCORE is a really cool national program who serves, yeah. Have you heard of them?
I think so. I believe
Yes.
so. I am
SCORE is,
bad with names, but I think I do.
yeah, me
Yeah.
too. Me too.
Yeah.
I struggle. I really struggle.
I'm better
But
with pictures, graphic design. If you show me, maybe I'll see if I can recognize it.
same. But yeah, so I was able to work with a free business mentor through SCORE. And she completely shifted the way that I was looking at business in a way that I'd never thought of before. So she was like, "Hey, you're relying on referrals. It's impressive, but it's also very scary. It's not sustainable, right?
True, true.
You're essentially relying on other people to bring you your income, and that's not safe. So it's time to get yourself out there." And it's funny because I market for other businesses, but marketing myself is so scary. It's a very vulnerable act of putting
Uh,
yourself out there into the world, because you can face rejection, right? It's
yeah.
scary. But I had to do it. So that was one thing that she taught me. She also helped me niche down. So if you remember from my story, I worked in a warehouse. I was doing like nitty gritty technical stuff as well as graphic design. And when I zoomed out and looked at all of the different services that I was offering, I realized that there were a lot of services that I was offering that I wasn't very excited about or passionate about. I was just doing them because I was good at them, not necessarily because I
Understand.
love to do them, right?
Got it.
So
Yeah.
I pared down what I was offering into only graphics, only marketing services. So by focusing my offering, not only did I feel even better about the work that I was doing, but it was easier to communicate what I could do instead of just being like, come to me, I could do everything, right? Like, what does that really mean? It's so vague. I could be like, hey, come to me. I can help you with your branding. I can help you with your websites, your email marketing, social media, yada, yada, right? It's very clear and understandable. So those were the two main things that I did. And in transitioning from a freelancer slash solopreneur to an agency owner, I hired some people. They're not employees yet, which I'm like working to get to that point.
Mm.
But I was so excited to take on a team who I could collaborate with and who could bring me their perspectives. Because when you're a solopreneur, you're working in a vacuum.
Very true.
You're
Right.
not really considering other points of view because you just can't. Like you don't have you could be
There's
as open-minded as possible, but you just
right.
can't see other points of view, right?
Yeah, there's
It's
no other voice in the room.
exactly. And so that was a huge value add, was bringing in these alternative voices who could help bring different ideas to the table and again collaborate. So
Okay.
those were the three main benefits of going from freelancer to agency
Amazing.
owner. So
That you're seeing right now in today in your practice.
yes, that I'm seeing
Beautiful.
today. And I made that shift a few years ago. What's crazy is that a month after I rebranded, started the agency, I found out I was pregnant.
Oh, double whammy.
Oh my gosh. It was wild. I felt like I was learning how to be a parent in two different capacities, right? Like the first one is like as a business owner in a different,
Mhm.
of a different sort, but also an actual literal parent of a human being child.
Wow. Yeah, you're birthing two great things.
It was crazy.
That's
It
amazing.
was wild. The learning curve was nuts, but it was so cool.
That's amazing. Oh wow. Okay. Because it was funny because I was gonna then ask because now that the business and your business foundation is almost basically fully formed, still expanding and going even beyond,
Yeah.
and family has been balanced well with it. You guys found a good perfect medium.
Yeah.
I was my next question was really going to be based around have you been able to sort of enjoy the fruits of your labor? Have you guys been able to kind of take those trips? I know you just mentioned Italy and everything, but I guess is that recent or like now more than before, you're able to kind of really enjoy that time together and be able to not just work solely on the business, but also get inspiration in your travels or in you guys' sort of gatherings.
One thing that I'm really good at is balancing work and play. When I'm
Okay.
working, my door is closed. No outside inputs, who aren't supposed to be in my workspace
Yeah.
are interrupting my flow. I'm really good at getting into flow. That's how I work. I'm the exact same way when I play.
Mm.
Emails are off. I am not like I don't want to be thinking about work while I'm playing. So I'm really good at getting into the flow state for both of those activities. And I've always valued that. I, I mentioned earlier, I had a really hard childhood.
Mm.
I have a younger brother, my only sibling. He's deaf from birth, so he's also mute, and he's also severely autistic. And a lot of that was due to him being born extremely premature. He was born at 26 weeks gestated, which for anybody who understands like the pregnancy timeline, that is
Brutal.
severely underdeveloped.
Yeah.
And how he was able to survive that, this kid is a warrior. Like he
Yeah.
nothing will take this kid down, right? So he was able to survive that. He's birthed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so as a young girl, I'm very specific on saying girl because women are taught to take care of others and we're taught to be small. I felt like I had to extend that even further having a disabled sibling, right? I
Yeah.
had to be even smaller so that my parents could focus more energy on my brother. And I had to be even more independent so that again my parents didn't have to worry about me as much.
Mhm.
And that was hard, but it empowered me. So
Yeah.
through my teen years, I was able to do everything in my power to save up as much money as possible. I raked leaves. I babysat the principal of my high school's kids. I don't know how that happened, but
Sales, you sold something. You sold them on some idea.
something. Next thing you know, I'm in my principal's house watching his three kids. I was I don't know how. And so I like did like oddball tasks like that. I tutored little kids in math, did everything I could. I had a physical jar that I put all of my cash in from my earnings. And I was able to, again, like I was able to move out at 19 with the large chunk of cash, a lot more
That's nice.
money than a
Yeah.
19-year-old should ever see, But I don't know how I was trusted with that. It was kind of crazy. But
Uh,
so I worked really hard as a teenager, but also as a teenager, I now had the freedom of having a vehicle to go drive to LA, go to the beach, go to rock concerts with my friends, go to the Vans Warp Tour. Who remembers the Vans Warp Tour? Is that even still around? It was so fun and dangerous.
I don't even know, but possibly. I do remember Vans being a big thing.
Oh man, it was so much fun. If I wasn't working my butt off, making sure I got the grades to secure my future and making sure I got the money to secure my future, I was out having a blast with my friends too.
Wow.
It was like I lived in these two worlds and somehow I was able to keep them separate,
Separate but equal in the same way. Yeah.
separate but equal. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I still had a really good time as a teenager, and I brought that sense of fun
Mhm.
with me. So, when I fast forward, I meet my soon to be husband. I think I was 20 when we met. I wasn't even drinking age yet.
You
Yeah,
guys were young.
we were young. We were so young, but we had a lot of fun too. We went on these different trips. I mentioned the Philippines trip. That was our first
Right.
international trip together, which I recommend, by the way, for any young couple, or not young, but any couple who is fresh, new, you're like 2, 3 years dating, go
Mm.
on a trip together. That's going to help you
Yeah.
best understand the other person because it gives you the chance to like go through trials
Oh
and
yeah.
see how the other person reacts to things and see you get to watch how they treat people out in the world, you know?
And also, you get to see how they live because you're technically with them for the duration of the
Ooh,
trip, which is a
so
very
true.
big it's a very big preview, a
Oh,
good preview if you can actually get through it. And so, same way you and your husband sort of went through that journey, is the same way me and my lady went through the same journey as well. We traveled a ton, and so yeah, by the time we went in together, it was easy.
yes, yes, highly recommend. Well, it's funny, we kind of did things a little backwards. So we moved in together at 1 year dating. So I was only 21 when we
21.
moved in together. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But you know what? By that point, I had been out into the world a lot more than, any 20-year-old by the time I met my
Yeah.
my husband. So I was very keen on meeting somebody who cared about the long run.
Mhm.
I'd been through my relationships. I'm the kind of person where if I know something's not right for me, I just cut it. I don't waste my time. No, honestly, and
Right.
I even told my husband when we started dating, I was like, look, like I don't do on and off again relationships.
Mhm.
If we break up, we're broken up. We're not getting back together. And I think that instilled an understanding between the two of us that if we want this thing to work, we're going to work at it.
Yeah.
We're not just going to give up and rely on getting back together again eventually. We're not doing that.
Right. You kept it clean.
We kept it very
I like that.
clean. And
Smart.
so, we again, like, so we moved in together at 1 year dating, and then we didn't
Wow.
travel until like 3 or 4 years dating for that big
Gotcha.
trip.
The big Indonesia trip.
The big
Yeah.
trip. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think we'd done some domestic travel maybe before that. I
Uh-huh.
don't really remember. It was so long ago, but kind of dating myself here. But
So basically, and you went through a lot there because basically your upbringing was um challenging, yet you still found a way to balance the upbringing with sort of a solution as you got out into college and was able to explore and really kind of reclaim back some of the fun that you lost in your teen years.
Well said.
Then you also balance that experience with now having a business, having a family, and really understanding the importance of turning it on when you need to for
Mm-hmm.
work and turning it
Mm-hmm.
off for the family to kind
Mm-hmm.
of give and devote that undivided attention to both
Mm-hmm.
without feeling burnt out on any side of it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
with all of that, how do you continue to motivate yourself in your business and in your family? Um, like what's a motivating element that you can utilize or share to kind of still keep it all together and still grow it at the same time, keeping it
Yeah.
all intact and grow it together.
Yeah. Well, so here's the thing. My kid is 2.5,
Mm.
which makes me still a relatively new parent, right? I've only been a mom for 2.5 years.
Wait, so you're not a veteran?
I know,
What?
right? Like I really thought my badge would arrive in the mail by now, but apparently not. So I guess I have to wait a little bit. But
Yeah, it'll come soon.
man, and I'll also share I'm a bit of a maybe workaholic. I really I don't know. I hate that word because it's not as accurate as I want it to be. I love the work that I do. Period. Dot. I get into it. It's super easy. Again, I've mentioned flow state a few times. I can get into flow state super simply. Like it's a fit for me. And so I've only had 2.5 years of practicing what it's like to divide that for a little human being,
Mhm.
right? And say like, okay, the work stays in my office and now I'm in family mode. This whole concept of family mode or mom mode is still fresh and new to me. Now, fun is different than work to me, but the mom mode is like this new arena that I'm still trying to figure out.
Right.
I will say that the motivating factor for me to practice not checking my emails while I'm watching my kid and setting that work aside is the understanding that if he continues, that if he watches me be on my phone, we're going to get to a point where he's learning how to be an adult from me. So
Gotcha.
he's going to think that a phone is necessary for him to be a full adult.
Oh, that's an interesting element you just brought up there. I didn't think of it from that perspective. They're kind of like monkey see, monkey do.
1,000%. He does this cute little thing where he puts on my slippers and he walks around the house. And in doing that, he is pretending to be me. He's pretending to be an older version of himself. So him watching me on my phone, he's going to think I need this phone in order to be complete. And I don't want that for him. To be honest, the phone sucks. I hate the phone. I want to throw it away, but I
You and me
need it.
both.
Same with social media. I wish I could just completely ditch it, but I do enjoy the social aspect of it, but I hate the doom scrolling. It's annoying. It's a
Yes.
waste of time. There's so much
Yeah.
life out there to be lived, and being stuck behind a screen is not it.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. If I could give up my phone, I'll be fine. I would just keep
Mhm.
my laptop. That'd be it.
Yes.
Laptop
Yes.
is a need, but the phone
Mhm.
can go.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. I'm tempted to like eliminate my social media offering because I don't want to be on my phone so much. But so yeah, so that said, like I don't want my kid to need a phone.
Mhm.
And so that's my motivation to stay off of my phone near him and
Got
give
it.
him my undivided attention. I also want him to know that he is valuable as he is. He doesn't need to do anything extra to be valuable. He is completely 100% deserving from birth naturally as he is.
Wow.
So I don't want him to have to try to get my attention and feel like he has to do anything extra like I said. So
Right.
I think about that too. Now, as a parent, it is completely unfair to say that I have to devote 100% of my focus and time when I'm with him for the 5 hours that I watch him every day. That would be bananas. Nothing would get done. Our sink full of dishes would be
Right.
even fuller than it is now. Like things still have to get done, and he does still
Right.
have to learn that the world keeps spinning. He is not the center of the whole universe,
Right.
and look, so my husband's Filipino, I'm white. He somehow my our kid turned out white. So he's a white male. I cannot let this white male go out into the world thinking that the world revolves around him. We can't do that.
Right.
Right. I got to
Absolutely
teach this
not.
kid to be humble and understand he's part of a bigger ecosystem. So,
Exactly.
you know, I'm balancing, I'm still figuring out how to balance those two, right? Giving him
Uh-huh.
all of the love that he deserves and also teaching him the ways of the world. It's
Yeah.
a lot of pressure.
That's wow, that's very noble of the in the way that you think. Because travel could be that answer. When
Yep.
you get outside of the bubble in the neighborhood you guys live,
Yeah.
immediately into a land that there's nobody else that you know, there's no society that you can recognize.
Hmm.
You immediately know the world keeps moving. It does
Hmm.
not revolve just around you. Now he's 2 years old. He's not going to recognize this now, but
Yeah.
but still, as when he grows into a more conscious state, that'd be something where okay, you can plot you guys self right back in Indonesia. Immediately, you will know this world is much bigger than California.
Yep, that's exactly why we travel with him. His
Mm,
first travel was to a dear friend's wedding in Maui. And so that was a little tiny
nice.
like tester trip, right? From Cali. That's like
Like
a,
eight
what is that?
hours.
I think it's like 5 or 6 if I
So
remember
okay.
correctly. Maybe it was 8, but I'm pretending it's 5 to make it feel better. I don't know, but
Gotta psych yourself into
gotta make it feel more palatable,
it.
traveling with the baby.
True, true.
But when that opportunity came up to go to our dear friend's wedding, it was a no-brainer. It's like, yeah,
Mm,
of course we will be there, because you're our dear friend, but also this is a chance for us to travel with our kid and show him the world.
mhm.
Show him that it's bigger than just this little bubble he grows up in and gets to see every day, the four walls that he lives in.
Yeah. Oh, I like that. And look, Maui's a good start.
It is.
Maui's a worth to start.
It is. Oh man, what a cool place. Can we talk like just for a second, side
Yeah.
note, they are so eco-friendly. It is incredibly inspiring.
It's inspiring and they have to be. I mean, a lot of their environment is reliant upon how they treat their ecosystem, how they treat
Yeah.
the land that they are inhabiting. There's no
Yeah.
other way around it.
What a funny thought to be connected
Yeah.
to our planet and realize that it nourishes us and we have to take care of it.
Yeah. It's a
Hmm.
it's a funny thought and it's a still at the same time a harsh reality for some.
Mm-hmm, 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 mm. Yep, yep. Anyway, that was a side note.
Yeah, it's a side note. That's a bar for some other podcast to deal with that one. Um, what is next for you and you, Mara, and how do you plan to grow it? What do you see yourself? Where do you see yourself and also your firm in the next maybe 6, 12, 24 months? What's kind of the goal you have?
Gosh, I love that. I am doubling down on marketing efforts right now. And the reason for that is because I want to grow to the point where I can just hire people as employees, give them all that a human being needs to live without having to like force them to piece it together.
Right.
I mean, I'm not forcing them. They're choosing their life too. And maybe they're choosing in the way that I am, hopefully, like where they want more flexibility and all that. But I want to be able to offer that capability where it's like, hey, if you want to come on as an employee, have benefits, I'm going to help you out with the 401k. Like I want to help people save their money and think of the future in that way too. That's like my dream for the company. And so yeah, just right now I'm like nose to the grind, just like do the marketing efforts,
Yeah.
getting out there. My word of the year is big. And
Oh.
so I'm just thinking big, and I'm saying yes to things that scare me and getting vulnerable and just being big, right?
The word of the year is big for you,
The
Mara.
word of the year is
I
big.
love it. Okay, okay. I back it. We back it over here. We'll back it.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, Kayla. I know you have a busy day ahead of you because you're hours behind of us over here on the East Coast.
Yeah.
But we like to end off with some pay me and plane tickets questions to kind of see where you fall on the spectrum. So
Let's
a little bit of
play.
a pop quiz. So let's see where you go. You ready?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
All right. So if you and Yamara were to be paid in plane tickets, which airline are you choosing?
I recently flew for the first time with Condor. I have never been so impressed by the design aesthetic of an airplane.
They are new.
They're
Yeah.
beautiful. The interior
New
of this,
fleet. Yeah.
oh my gosh, thank goodness they came around because man, I'm a nerdy graphic designer. I see the world in a very specific visual way. The interior of the plane that we were on was like all black, and the screen monitors were so nicely designed. Like the layout was beautiful, the font choices were beautiful. So yeah, Condor, purely because of their design. I don't even remember like if they serve food or anything, so maybe
It
I'd be
was, oh wow, you
starving.
were that captivated.
I was enamored.
Oh man, okay, all right. So Condor for the victory. Okay, when you do travel, do you normally do hotel or Airbnb?
Ooh, it depends on where we're going. It
Fair
depends
enough.
on where we're going. So if it's a short stay, I would do hotel, and I would choose a hotel with free breakfast. So it's one less thing I have to think about. But if it's a longer stay, I have a maybe a bigger group of people who I'm traveling with. Airbnb is really fun. It keeps everybody within the same space. We get to cook together. We get to go hang out on the back porch together and just like feel like a family. So it really just depends on what the trip is about.
Okay, which it's a common response. It depends on the type of trip and also where you're going. Really
Yeah,
does depend,
yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
Okay, when you do travel, do you have a preferred credit card or debit card you're using for points or miles, or you just cash like me?
Yeah, this is a tricky one, right? Because when we travel, you can write that off for business, but my business credit cards are trash, so I like to I like to use my personal card and write an expense report afterwards. So I
Yeah.
come home with like a mound of receipts. It's really annoying, but it's a workaround. But the card that we use is the Capital One Venture card. It
Okay.
has no fees abroad. It has no annual fee. There are like zero lounge perks, but
Mhm.
as of right now, that's not really a priority.
Yeah.
Maybe in the future I can get one with better lounge perks. But yeah,
Okay.
Capital
Capital
One
One is
Venture.
really, yeah, the Capital One's making a sizable headway against Amex and Chase of the world.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, they definitely their venture product is becoming a formidable opponent to them. So
I like it. It's
yeah,
helped
I'm sorry
me.
to hear about it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I've been able to cash in some points too on plane tickets. Like
Okay.
I think that Maui trip, the flights were completely covered, and then some of our Airbnb too.
Oh, nice. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
Okay,
I'm
beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. So this next question I'm going to ask pre-family and then post-family. Because
Okay.
most times when I speak to folks who have family, they always lean one way. When you typically travel, are you taking a check bag or carry-on?
Okay, so here's the deal. The very first trip that Adrian and I went on, we brought huge check-in rollies. Okay, like we completely overpacked. And there was a part of our trip where we had to cross a skinny plank to get onto this very wavy boat. And this plank, I'm telling you, it bowed in the middle. It was so sketchy. It was so sketchy. And I remember carrying this giant rolly, swearing to myself that I would never travel with that much luggage again. And so from from that point forward, we've only traveled with backpacks, one
Oh,
each. And then for our toddler, now we can say post family with our
yeah.
toddler, it's also a carry on, but it's a little tiny rolly.
Oh,
So it's a bit easier to manage all the
okay.
things. Yeah. Now we do have to still travel with the stroller. We check that in, but
Gotcha.
everything else comes with us.
I see what you're saying. Okay. Wow, but that's still impressive. A carry-on for the toddler. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. We've you know what we do? We bring enough diapers to get us through like half the trip. And then we kind of rely on purchasing diapers wherever we are.
Mhm.
And part of that is because diapers take up so much luggage space. It's insane. It's insane. But
Right.
also, too, we've been doing this funny thing with our toddler. We started when he was 2 weeks old. It's called elimination communication. It teaches them how to use the potty. And so,
Oh,
yeah. And so at this point, he's 2.5. He's out of daytime diapers. So that has significantly lightened the load that we have to even think about with diapers with traveling.
got it. So basically because of that, your packing situation has definitely it's definitely decreased and allowed for the carry-on situation to kind of work, set up to work.
Exactly, exactly. So
Got
yeah,
it.
like again, when he was little, we only packed enough diapers for like half the trip, and then now that he's a toddler, he's pretty much potty trained. We only bring enough pull-ups for at night. That's it.
Okay. Just for
Yeah,
night. That's it.
exactly.
Okay. Smart. All right.
Yeah,
I'm gonna keep that fun
minimalist.
fact. Yeah, minimalist
Yeah,
and fun fact. And for the
yeah.
listeners, yeah, I think they're gonna take that one in. Okay. When you do travel, is it window, aisle, or dare I say middle seat?
Okay, well, okay. I gotta think about this because pre-family,
Yeah, pre-family, post-family. Yeah.
pre-family, I honestly I didn't really care because I'm 5 feet tall. I take up zero space. People can crawl around me, or I can like easily squeeze by other people. So it doesn't really matter, you know?
Okay.
But post family, I gotta have a window seat if it's and hope that the plane has three seats on that
Okay.
on that
Yeah.
side. You know, because some of them only have
Yeah.
two.
Two.
That's
Yeah.
yeah, that's a whole thing. I never get the middle with like the 4 or 5 seats for the big international planes.
Yeah.
I like the side window, partially because now the three of us are in our own little section together, but
Hmm.
also kid likes to look out the window. It it helps make the plane ride easier.
Got it. So basically, pre-family didn't really matter,
Yeah.
but post-family, I guess sounds like you're in the middle and the kid's in the window.
Yeah. Yep, pretty
Got
much.
it.
Or if I'm in the window, he's sitting on my lap
And
because
you don't
he wants
laugh.
the window. Yeah.
What's window
Yeah.
two?
Yeah.
Got
Yeah.
you. Okay. So we talked about the great things of travel's brought us, or even just business in general, and getting out there, taking that leap of faith. But do
Yeah.
you have any traveling pet peeves?
Hmm. This is just this is just a general life pet peeve. Please don't stand so close next to me in line. I hate it. Like it got worse after COVID, but it was definitely a thing that's always bothered me. Like, look, people, when you're traveling, just give people space. Give others space. At least like I
Arm's
don't
length.
know, an arm and a half distance, please. Like I love the two shopping carts rule. Like just
Yes.
give some space, man. Like, first of all, like people, there's an actual physical thing that our bodies go through when someone is in our personal space. Like our brains go into like a reactive mode. I'm not a scientist. I couldn't tell you more about it, but but also like when we're traveling, it can be a little stressful. And so giving people more space helps to alleviate that stress in the overall environment, right?
Yeah,
It's
very
just, I
true.
don't know, give
Okay, yeah.
space.
So arm's level space. I'm with it. I'm with it. There's no need to be
Minimum.
towering over somebody. Uh,
Please don't.
in any environment, but more or less boarding a plane or even leaving the flight or whatever it is.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Last one before we let you go. Where are you flying to next? Where are you and your family flying to next?
Oh man, we honestly haven't planned any flights. We have an upcoming trip to Yosemite, but we're driving. That's a five
Oh,
hour 5 hour drive. But no, yeah, we're not flying anywhere. We need to think about that.
all right. That's why we're gonna do a part two, just to get to when you book that flight. We're gonna do a whole other part two just to figure out the whole decision making around this trip here.
I'm here for it. Let's do it.
Kaila, I want to thank you for hopping on the Pay Me and Plane Tickets podcast. It's been wonderful having you on, and it's been I'd say very cordial and also just warm to hear your story and inspiring to kind of see how far you've taken not only yourself but also your business and your family. It's a very it felt like a very intelligent conversation that we just
Ooh,
had.
I'll
Yeah.
take it. Thank you. I try my best to articulate. I gotta tell you, after becoming a mom, I feel like I've lost half my memory. Like it's just I can't remember things as well. So I really appreciate that. Thank you.
No, no, no worries, no worries. And obviously, we're rooting for you.
Yeah.
We're rooting
Thank
for you.
you. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed today's collaboration episode of Bringing Up Business and Pay Me in Plane Tickets. As you were able to just hear, Jelani is a fantastic host. To hear more of his episodes of Pay Me in Plane Tickets, you can find them on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. If you'd like to learn more about Pay Me in Plane Tickets, you can also find them on Instagram at Pay Me in Plane Tickets, all one word, or on their website, wapechi.com. That's WAPECHI.com. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to DM me on Instagram at bub.podcast, or you can shoot me a message through our webpage at www.yumari.digital/bubpodcast. Also, I've linked the episode in the show notes just in case you haven't heard his interview on Bringing Up Business. It's really good. The episode is called The Value of Travel. Finally, if you got any value at all from this episode, please leave a review for both shows, Bringing Up Business and Pay Me in Plane Tickets, on Apple or Spotify. It would help us tremendously to continue providing value for other entrepreneurs, parents, and travel enthusiasts. Thank you so much for listening.